Alright, so we're going to be making some vegetable dumplings, some vegan alkaline electric dumplings. So we're starting off with 2 cups of white spelt flour. No, we're starting off with 3.5 cups of white spelt flour, followed by 1 cup of water plus 2 tablespoons of kind of like warm water. And then I'm going to mix this up and knead it until it's in a nice ball. Then I'm going to cover it with some paper towels, a wet paper towel, and let that sit for an hour. In the meantime, while that's sitting, I'm going to go ahead and dice butternut squash. I'm going to be using half of what I'm cutting up here. I'm going to save the other half for another time. So here's our butternut squash. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and add some zucchini. I like to peel off the green parts when I'm making my vegetable dumplings. Next, I'm chopping up a whole onion. And I put the zucchini and the butternut squash in one bowl. Put the onions in one bowl, and now I'm chopping up some red peppers, and I'm gonna put that in the same bowl as I'm gonna put the mushrooms when I dice them. And these are some large portabella mushrooms, and baby mushrooms are like perfectly fine too. So now I'm adding some avocado oil to my pan, and I'm gonna sprinkle some ginger in there. I put mad ginger in there. I like a lot of ginger, but you can add it to your taste. And when that starts getting real fragrant, when you can start like really smelling the ginger, that's when I add the onions and I kind of saute them until they become translucent. Then I added my bell pepper and my mushrooms, and then I saute that and I let them cook until they start like kind of releasing their juices. And when I can see that there's like juice in the pan, that's when I chop up some kale. And I added my kale in there too. Since the pan is really hot and the kale is frozen, it shrunk up really quick, but it's fine. I didn't want to add too much kale. And now I'm adding in my squash. So I'm letting everything cook down, letting all the juices release. And maybe after like 5 minutes, now I'm gonna season it. So I'm gonna add some salt, some sea salt. And you want to do all of this to taste. Some sea salt. So I'm adding in some onion powder. Next, I'm going in with some cayenne pepper. I'm going in with some dill weed, which is optional. Some oregano. A couple of squirts of agave. And then I'm gonna give that like a good mix. Since we're cooking with a lot of veggies, they all have high water content, so it's very easy for the seasonings to get drowned out by the water content once it starts to release. So you just want to kind of keep building on that flavor. So once you put your initial set of seasonings in, let it cook for a minute or two, try a piece, see what it needs, because remember there's no salt in the dumpling, in the outside of the dumpling, so you don't want it to be flavorless, because this really hits if you season it well. So now I'm rolling out my dumpling sheet. You really want to, I put down a piece of parchment paper and I put some flour on that paper. The dumpling dough is very sticky. So you're going to want to put flour on whatever you're using to roll it out. You want to put flour on the parchment paper. You want to put flour on the dough itself. Like you want to flour it up because it gets really sticky. have a tray that has a parchment paper with flour on the side, and I'm making about 6 of these before I put them in the pan. So I do have my pan heating, and I do have some oil heating on the side while I'm rolling out this the dumplings. So here it is one more time. You want to make sure everything is well floured into a circle. You want to add the filling, and then you want to pinch everything at the top into like a purse or a bag when you're done. And you want to add about enough oil to cover the bottom of the pan. So now I'm adding in my dumplings, so I'm gonna let them fry so they can have a nice good coating, a nice crispy coating at the bottom. And once they fry for about a minute or two, you want to add some water. Have the cover nearby. You want to add some water and then cover it, and this is going to create the steam because the oil and water don't mix, especially when the oil is hot. So the oil is going to try and get rid of the water. The water is going to keep popping up, very, very hot water, and it's going to fall onto the dumplings and create a lot of steam. So you want to make sure that, you know, your pan is hot for this in order for it to work well. I had some difficulties with the temperature at first, but if you make sure your pan is hot before you add the dumplings and the oil is hot before you add the dumplings, it should come out perfectly fine. And when you see all the water pretty much evaporates, that's when you take the lid off, you turn the heat back up to medium heat, let the dumplings cook for another 2 to 3 minutes to get that crispy bottom, and then you're gonna be golden. So I had to troubleshoot with mine. I kind of had to redo the whole frying in water process. I feel like it didn't look cooked enough, and then when I redid that, now my dumplings look steamed, like the dough looks cooked. So I was really pleased with that. This is how my steamed vegetable dumplings came out. They look like I bought it from a Chinese restaurant. I'm very, very happy with how it came out, and it was slapping. It was slapping too. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
To be completely 100, these people can't keep me from coming. I'm moving now. What you doing tomorrow? If you wanna do it, I say you get to it now. I see the view from the top of the podium, out of your sodium wingspan. I am that they itching to see when you sitting with me, you a wingman.